Good morning, everyone. I'm Sherry Andrews, and this is Let's Talk Legal. I'm coming to you live every Tuesday morning at 10 with just information that might be valuable for your business and, making sure that your business is legally compliant and legally protected. So today I would like to talk to you about privacy policies. I recently did a very deep dive into consumer data protection and privacy laws. And I know that, it's an area that not everybody's familiar with. And you may have a website and not even realize that you should be considering a privacy policy. So I want to talk about the reasons why you might consider it. And let's make a determination of whether you need one or not. So if you've been paying attention, and it's hard because right now everything in the news is COVID, but the California Consumer Privacy Act, which was enacted effective January 1st of this year and went under enforcement July 1st of this year, right in the middle of the pandemic, um, sets forth some very stringent rules for privacy for California residents' personal information. And so, if you're operating a website, but you're not targeting California residents, do you need to be concerned about the California Consumer Privacy Act? Well, when I dug into that one, what I discovered is that for most of the people who would be watching this live video, you're a small business, you're, not doing huge volumes like the big guys. The California Consumer Privacy Act actually has some thresholds before it becomes applicable to you as a business. Um, those thresholds are that you have revenue in excess of 25 million a year, or you're processing data for over 50,000 consumers, or at least half of your revenue comes from selling consumer personal information. And, I know for me, I wouldn't meet those thresholds. And I know that most of the clients that I work with aren't going to meet those thresholds. So you might be thinking, California Consumer Privacy Act doesn't apply to me. I don't have to worry about it. Well, before you breathe a huge sigh of relief and think you're off the hook, let me tell you about a couple other things you need to be aware of. In addition to California, Nevada and Maine also have consumer privacy laws. And 27 other states in the United States have privacy legislation either under consideration or they brought it under consideration. It's temporarily being paused because they've got other things to think about right now. But that's 27 states that are considering it. And when that legislation starts hitting the books, you're going to have a lot more to keep track of. And unfortunately, it's not just the United States you have to be thinking about. The European Union General Data Protection Regulations, the GDPR, um, sets forth the very stringent data protection requirements for residents of the EU. And whether your business targets EU residents or not, um, this law is probably still applicable to you. And let me tell you why. So the GDPR became effective on May 25th of 2018. It's the first consumer privacy regulation to put stringent requirements on owners of businesses with respect to consumer personal information. It's technology neutral. That means it doesn't matter what device you're using to collect information, whether it's your computer, your phone, a cash register in a store, or even on paper. GDPR covers both privacy and data security. So it's not just the information you're collecting and what you do with it, it's also about how you're protecting it. The data covered includes personal data such as name, address, phone number, social security number, banking information. It covers web data such as geolocation, IP address, and the metrics that you pick up via cookies. And it includes protected data, which runs from health and biometrics to race, ethnicity, politics, and even sexual orientation. Um, but the biggest piece of the GDPR I want to make you aware of is that the GDPR is not location or size specific. The GDPR doesn't care where your business is located or how big or little it is. All businesses, regardless of size or location, are expected to comply with the GDPR if you collect personal information from residents of the EU. This could include information for signing up for a newsletter, um, signing up to receive a download of a lead magnet, or a contact form where they're giving you their personal information so that you can reach out to them for more information. Um, it also covers if you sell goods or services to anyone in the EU, or if you are using analytics on your website that can capture the behaviors of EU citizens visiting your website. And this is where to me it gets very tricky because how do you know whether or not the visitor on your website is coming from one of the EU countries? It's very hard to determine. So when I look at the fact that this covers all businesses regardless of size, and that if you're collecting personal information from EU residents, if you're selling goods or services to EU residents, or if you are collecting analytical data on EU residents visiting your website, you need to be compliant with GDPR. When I combine that with all of the legislation out there pending for the various states in the United States, and the fact that you've already got California, Nevada, and Maine with consumer privacy regulations, your best practice is going to be to go ahead and meet these requirements and have a privacy policy on your website so that if any of your visitors happen to come from any of these places where the legislation is in place, you're covered. That's my conclusion. Some people are going to disagree with it. They're going to want to take their chances, and that's a personal choice. But I believe in proactive risk mitigation, and this is one of the simplest and easiest ways you can make sure that you're compliant with regulations out there, and not have to worry about getting hit with some of the substantial fines and penalties that come with this regulation. So that's it for today. This is Sherry Andrews signing off for Let's Talk Legal. If you've been here, please leave me a comment in the comments to let me know that you watched this video. If you have any questions about what I've discussed today, you can leave that in the comments and I'll come back and check on those and see if I can answer your questions. And if you have any burning questions you'd like discussed on a future episode of Let's Talk Legal, please also put those in the comment box and then I can, consider those for a future episode. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.